Help ever, hurt never. Our loved ones only want to help us. They don't want to hurt us in any way. They don't want us to feel hurt, be hurt by anyone, let alone by themselves. Likewise, we have no desire to hurt our loved ones. We only want to help our loved ones. So then, how this help becomes hurt in our relationships, especially with our loved ones? First thing is what we think, what we understand, what we speak, what is actually heard and understood by the other person, and how they respond back to us, and how we understand and interpret their words, their reactions, how we judge their response, and then we judge them back, clarify, or resign, or accept. And that is just one cycle of communication. And take this cycle of communication with one person and then go back and forth communicating with that person. And imagine having many such interactions with many such people, and each of those people again having many such interactions with many other people. This forms the basis of our belief system, preconceived ideas or preconception, predetermination, and so forth. It's almost like we start judging before the other person even speaks because we anticipate what the other person's response would be. Or in some cases, we think what the other person would be doing right now at a distance land. So the love and care for the other person, when combined with attachment, instead of resulting in loving thoughts, feelings, and words, because of fears, results in negative thoughts and negative feelings and fear of negative outcomes. And the response then is of closing of the heart, is of defense, is of self-preservation, is of protection, instead of opening of the heart and allowing the life to take place. So our well-wishers, our loved ones who want nothing but the best from us and for us and with us, out of attachment, which results in fear, anger, and host of other things, results in hurtful outcomes. And the other person doesn't know, because the other person does not have the intention of hurting the other person. The other person only wishes the best. And as a result, there can be frustration because the person is being misunderstood. Because that was not that person's intention. The words that may come out of the mouth may be hurtful. What may end up doing may be hurtful to the other person. But the intention of the person is or never was hurtful. You can take parents as example, siblings as example, spouse as example, your own kids as example, your friends as examples. Obviously, the same then translates into communities and workplaces as well. Because of those cycles of communications, not only with one person over and over again, but with other people. And those interactions where one person thinks something, intends something, wants something, and speaks something else and does something else, and the response is something else, and it's misunderstood and misresponded and misrepresented and misjudged. Words carry different meaning and feeling for different people at different times. Same words, which mean exactly the same thing in a dictionary. It is not the language we're talking about. Perhaps it is the language we're talking about, because we're talking about the language of the mind. We're talking about the language of the heart. We're not talking about English language or Hindi language or Arabic language. We're not talking about that. We're talking about language of understanding ourselves and other people. So then what is the solution? A very young, wise person recently shared this wisdom, and he practices it. That when your loved ones are saying things which are hurtful to me, or where they have clearly misunderstood, instead of responding through yes or no, or leaning forward or pushing yourself back, even from a body language, is to stay still, which means you're not adding fuel to the fire, or you're not making things even more complicated. To the loved ones, it may seem like that the person is irresponsive, cold, not engaged. But really, that person is very wise. At the time when there is miscommunication and misunderstanding, and you're neither agreeing nor disagreeing, you're not engaging in that negative cycle of communication. And then what to do when the cycle of misunderstanding, when the cycle of misinterpretation or misjudgment results in angry words, hurtful words, or actions? That young wise man then told me is to then signal to the other person to physically calm down. It reminds me of a couple of interactions with Baba. So many times we have seen Baba during darshan time, or even individual interactions during interviews or during darshan, that Baba will motion to just sit, wait, or calm down. He's not saying yes, he's not saying no, but he wants you to not continue going in that direction. Just to wait for further instructions or response. Do nothing. Another interaction I remember with Baba was during the First World Youth Conference, being the representative, the young adult representative for United States. I was asking for permission for the first National Youth Conference. And Baba was looking at me, responding, but saying, wait, I will speak to you. 10 years later, that first National Youth Conference materialized. Sometimes, if not always, haste makes waste. Out of haste, out of impatience, out of our attachment to the outcome, out of our desires for our loved ones to do what we want them to do, out of our attachment to our ideas and imposing them on our loved ones, we waste time, energy, and precious opportunities. Our intention of helping people turns sour or caustic, and they become hurtful, not only to the person who we intend to help, but to us, and even more importantly, to the very relationship that we are trying to guard or promote or support. So help ever sometimes become hurt ever, only because of attachment to the outcome based on fear. So saying nothing, doing nothing is one thing. And the second, which is much more precious and universal, is love, is asking yourself, how will love respond to the situation? Sometimes love patiently waits. Sometimes love gives a gentle reminder and then steps back, allows the other person to have the freedom of choice. Sometimes love swoops down and picks the loved ones in the arm and takes the loved one to a safe place, because the loved one cannot see the imminent damage or hurt that could be more lasting than either of the two parties would like. So moral of the story is, you may or may not help somebody. Do look into it that you don't hurt somebody. Before you speak, before you think, before you act, ask yourself, is it going to be hurtful to the other person or to me, or hurt the very relationship that I am treading on, basing my response on, depending on, promoting, supporting, praying for? If the answer is that yes, it will damage it, then better to do nothing. Wait for inner guidance. Listen to the inner voice. Follow it. In the meantime, pray for the other person. Be loving and kind with the other person. Be gentle with the other person. And respond from love. And what if you're on the other side of the equation? What if you're on the receiving end of it? How to receive or look upon this so-called overbearing, overcaring, this suffocating love, which actually is love with attachment that has turned sour or hurtful, is to remember that the original intention of the person is nothing but love. The person has just lost his or her way for a bit out of attachment, out of fear, out of lack of judgment, of not understanding the words, because we all receive and hear and think differently. Words carry different meaning to different people at different times. And if I can just remember, I love you, I love me.